Hey there, rock stars. So, kind of bummed, got some bad news for you. Went and got the diamond certified at another location, another jeweler that was actually just down the street. It was actually extremely convenient to find. And absolutely none of the jewelers I talked to, I must have called at least half a dozen shops on the phone, nobody would let me film. Nobody was okay with being on camera, with talking about this kind of stuff, which is too bad. I wanted to get a professional in there to be able to kind of go over things in depth and explain the ins and outs of gemology, because I don't know all that much about it, and it's really interesting, and they do a lot of cool things in the name of the art, bringing out the brilliance and beauty of gemstones, which is super cool. Anyway, got my rock checked out, got the cut stone looked at, and it is not a diamond, interestingly enough, and that was kind of a surprise. I really thought after the at-home tests that we did that we were looking pretty good there. There was probably an over 50% chance that it was real, that it was genuine. It's totally false. It's totally not real. The diamond shop used a variety of methods to test. Specifically, they used a diamond tester, and that time they were able to get a confirmation using the just same electrical conductance test using that handheld little meter. And what they also showed me was that they also used the paper test again, the newspaper test that we did with the book in one of the previous videos, and turns out that actually fails. It actually fails that test. In the video where we were doing the at-home test, you can see text through the diamond, and if it's a real diamond, the way it's cut, the way it works is it'll bounce light around and you'll never see it. It'll never shine through that part of the diamond. The diamond is cut in such a way built to reflect light as many times as possible, so it kind of bounces light around inside and then just kind of shines it out through the top face, that top unangled face of the diamond. The angled kind of pointed end is like a hall of mirrors, essentially, where it's a bunch of angled faces designed to catch light through the large open piece. It all has a name. I'm not sure the specific the proper name for it, and so it lets light in, bounces it around on the bottom side, and then reflects it back up the top. And because of the optical properties of diamond, it's one of the few stones that you can get just a really brilliance in the reflection there. That's why it's such a sought after stone, along with a number of other reasons. The fact that it is the hardest stone known to occur naturally is another big reason as well, but interestingly enough, doesn't mean that it's indestructible. What hardness indicates is whether or not you can scratch that rock, whether it's scratch resistant or not. That's hardness. Toughness is a completely different property that defines whether or not that rock will be resistant to breaking and breaking apart, kind of like, or bending, or bending as well. Dropping. Knowledge drops.
How much it bends before it breaks.
Oh, how much it bends before it breaks. Thank you, Kevin. Okay.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah, and so it's actually surprisingly easy to break diamond. Not surprisingly easy. It's hard. It's pretty strong, but it's not the strongest material out there, naturally occurring or otherwise. Not by a long shot. Not really at all. Also interesting is that the scratch test that we used, and that's a very common one that I've heard used for a long time, is not the best way to test at all. Scratch test is actually a really poor measure, because cubic zirconia, I think the other, what's the other fake, not fake, it's just another kind of fake diamonds that are used. It's a naturally occurring mineral. I'll put the name somewhere. Those are both harder than glass, so both those rocks will also scratch glass. So the at-home test can be a bit of a wash sometimes, especially if you don't really know exactly what to look for. So my recommendation, rock stars, if you need something checked, get it checked by a professional. Make sure it's somebody that you trust. I would always say to go for smaller local shops, because they're just going to be a little bit better than kind of some of the other larger places that you might go to. That's my recommendation there. Sadly, this little guy won't quite be we won't quite be able to test it. There we go. Won't quite be able to test this one like I had hoped by smashing it open, but you know, we're probably gonna do that anyway, even though it's not quite a real diamond. So join me next week, rock stars, where we say goodbye to our little diamond mystery with a proper send-off by smashing the crud out of it. See you then. So close.
So Mike, they make these sweet graphs. I've seen them used for like steels to measure how much force it takes to break a piece of steel.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably one out there for a diamond, but this is like how much force is applied, and this is the strain. And where it's linear like this, it usually means that with that amount of force, it'll move the metal that much, but it'll always return.
Oh, so that's plastic deformation, I think, or is it? Yeah. There's a specific word for it. Yeah. No, it is elastic. It's elastic deformation.
Yeah, where it will return.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a point where it starts to bump and curve on the graph, where then it becomes elastic and plastic.
Plastic deformation.
Whereas as you put the force in, it won't return as far. It'll probably bounce back a little bit depending on the material. And eventually it just ends, and that's where it breaks.
Wow, okay.
So diamonds, all these different carbon compound diamonds, they react like a bulk diamond, whatever that means. Can take a lot of force, but they basically don't do anything until they reach their limit and they break.
Whoa.
And so that's the indication of a very
hard.
It's very hard but very brittle. And diamonds are just extremely hard, so they can withstand a good amount of force, but they are still considered brittle. And so once you reach that force, they don't bend, they don't become plastic at all, they're just done.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, rock stars. Little tidbits for you from the camera guy.